Shadowman is a fictional superhero who appears in comic books published by Valiant Comics. The character debuted in Shadowman #1, May 1992. Created by writers Jim Shooter and Steve Englehart, and artist Mike Manley. Shadowman appears in his own series and video games, as well as numerous other Valiant comics. Shadowman is a lineage and 4 characters have taken up the mantle thus far in the comics and video games. The series' protagonist is Jack Boniface. Since his introduction, Shadowman has been a key character in the Valiant Universe and has sold over 5.3 million copies to date. With 80 issues published, Shadowman comics have been translated into a number of languages, including German, Italian, Spanish, Norwegian, Filipino and Chinese, among others. Shadowman is so tied to the city of New Orleans that New Orleans Mayor Sidney Barthelemy officially proclaimed January 17 as Shadowman Day. Quote, publication history. Shadowman debuted in 1992 as a flagship title in the Valiant Universe and became one of the industry's most popular comic books. After 1 year in publication, Shadowman was selling over 100,000 comics books a month. By its second year, Shadowman was outselling long-standing industry stalwarts from Marvel Comics and DC Comics. Shadowman continued strongly with sales in the hundreds of thousands of books per month, ultimately selling more than 5 million copies altogether, until 1996 when Acclaim Entertainment, which bought Valiant for $65 million, started a new Shadowman series under the Acclaim Comics banner. Acclaim focused on adapting Shadowman for video games. In preparation for the leap to video games, a new, more action-oriented Shadowman took up the mask in comics. The second series of comics, spelled Shadowman, featured the iteration of Shadowman that would gain huge popularity in the successful Shadowman video game franchise. In 1999, Shadowman was released on the Nintendo 64, PlayStation, Dreamcast, and PC formats to a critical and commercial response. Acclaim launched a third Shadowman comic book series in conjunction with the sequel to the first successful Shadowman video game. The sequel, entitled Shadowman 2: A Homecoming, came out, and a third game in the series began development. The sequel, Shadowman 2: A Homecoming, was released in 2002 as a PlayStation 2 exclusive. In all, the Shadowman franchise has sold over 2 million copies and grossed close to $100 million in revenue. Nintendo released a special Shadowman-themed limited edition N64 console that has become a sought-after collectible. In 2006, a campaign was begun by fans to make the Shadowman series of games available for download on the Nintendo Wii system. People who have worked on Shadowman characters and storylines include Marvel Comics editor-in-chief Joe Quesada, former Marvel Comics editor-in-chief Jim Shooter, Sin City co-director Frank Miller, Garth Ennis, Rob Liefeld, Barry Windsor-Smith, Jamie Delano, Steve Ditko, David Lapham, Rags Morales, Fabian Nicieza, Jim Starlin, Bob Layton, Jimmy Palmiotti, Walt Simonson and Ashley Wood, among many others. With issue 7, Bob Hall took over writing chores and continued as the primary writer on the book until the first Shadowman run ended with issue 43. As of issue 10, he took over penciling the book as well. Over 80 Shadowman comics have been published to date, selling more than 5 million copies. Shadowman also guest-starred in a number of Valiant comics, most notably Unity and Unity 2000. Acclaim shut down all comic book publishing in 2002 in anticipation of a bankruptcy filing of its parent company after suffering heavy losses from its licensed sports video games. Valiant Entertainment are the current owners of the Valiant catalog. Shadowman has had his likeness transferred to many other mediums in addition to comic books and video games, including trading cards, posters, apparel, jewelry, lithographs, high-end collectibles and more. Fictional character biography. Valiant Universe. Jack Boniface is playing saxophone for a packed jazz bar deep in the heart of New Orleans one night. A successful musician and hopeless romantic, Jack dreams of a record deal, but until then is happy to realize that a beautiful woman named Lydia has been coming to the bar every night to watch him play. That night they leave the bar together. They go to her residence, where Jack consumes a drugged drink and falls unconscious, believing this is his last moment on Earth. In the morning he wakes to find Lydia gone, and a strange mark on his neck. Later that night, Jack stalks the streets, compelled by an urge to hunt Lydia down and take revenge. He finds a discarded carnival mask on the street and, inexplicably drawn to it, picks it up. Jack hears the cries of a woman being assaulted in a back alley. He confronts the attacker, and finds that he has superhuman strength and speed, with which he is able to frighten the attacker into fleeing. Jack's housekeeper Nettie, a voodoo practitioner, senses the change in Jack. She explains that something evil in the night ripped open the doorway to his soul. Now, whenever shadows fall, his soul comes out, takes over, and goes hunting. She tells him, in voodoo talk, shadow means soul. You the Shadowman. Nettie feels the presence of a lower, or spirit, named Bosu Koblamin in Jack. Bosu has become Jack's mate Tete, the lower who stands for him. Nettie tells him that although ignorant people think Bosu is evil, in truth Bosu embodies a rage against evil, and is not possessing Jack, but helping him. Nettie, feeling that Jack's newborn nighttime identity of Shadowman is part of his destiny, makes Jack an outfit for this new identity, which bears the image of his soul stepping out and 3 spikes of light piercing the darkness. Just like Bosu's 3 horns. Putting on the mask, Jack roams the streets and confronts violent criminals. Dead bodies start piling up in New Orleans, but these dead bodies have been reanimated and are found running, ranting, and raving with blood pouring from their orifices before they collapse and die. The public dubs them blood runners. Jack looks into the deaths with his friend Marty, who double-crosses him and takes Jack to a fearsome albino necromancer named Master Dark, the man behind the Bloodrunners. Dark turns the Bloodrunners on Jack, but Shadowman takes over and he escapes, though not before Dark is able to take some of Jack's hair. Dark uses it to resurrect one of the fallen men as a zombie and send him after Jack. As Jack's newfound supernatural abilities grow with each passing night, he begins to wonder where he ends and Shadowman begins. Although a confident fighter by night, during the day, he is filled with doubt. Master Dark is able to bring Jack under his control, but with the help of the lower, Jack overcomes Dark's power, although Dark still claims the lives and energy of hundreds of people, giving him enough power to last for years. He now has found a nemesis in Shadowman. Acclaim Universe. The reimagining of Shadowman in the Acclaim Universe, also known as Shadowman V2, made some drastic changes to the Shadowman universe. The first 4 issues, called Dead Side, which were written by Garth Ennis and drawn by Ashley Wood, set a much darker tone to the series, and moved it away from sci-fi to a more voodoo magic, mystical setting with horror elements. But that would change, however, as other writers and artists progressed the story. somewhat disrupting the storyline and the vision Ennis had for Shadowman, which was that of a zombie hitman. Therefore there are many inconsistencies between issues 1 to 4, issues 5 to 15 and issues 16 to 20, with the last issue ending in a cliffhanger. The Dead Side story arc starts with an autopsy of mutilated body of Jack Boniface, who, as we later find out, was sadistically and somewhat humorously butchered by 4 dead men who have somehow escaped from Deadside. Nettie too has been injured by the dead men. She was barely able to escape death, but was reduced to a skeleton, forced to stay alive by using voodoo. Nettie also stars as a much more menacing and manipulative character, not to mention her newfound distinguishing accent. As the story progresses, we are introduced to Jaunty, an Irish skull-headed serpent wearing a top hat, who is Nettie's eyes and ears in Deadside. We are also introduced to Zero, a black man who works as a hitman for a local barman and struggles with the fact that he doesn't remember his past, excluding 5 years after his awakening from a coma and running away from a hospital. All Zero has left after his awakening is a tattered teddy bear and a seemingly inborn knowledge of killing. The story centers itself on Zero and his unwilling yet unavoidable fate of becoming the next and true Shadowman, as well as rediscovering his past and Nettie's connection to him, not to mention the 4 dead men on the loose wreaking havoc. The first issue of Volume 2 was released on March 1997 and ran for 20 issues, with the final issue being released on October 1998. Valiant Entertainment. In 2012, Valiant Entertainment launched new titles featuring the Valiant characters. Its 5th title was Shadowman by writer Justin Jordan and artist Patrick Zirka, which debuted on November 7, 2012. The title is currently no longer being published. Some time ago, evil forces led by Master Dark invade New Orleans through a portal. Jack Boniface's father, Josiah, leaves a special amulet to his wife, Helena Le Breton, before going off to face Master Dark. In the streets, Josiah's friend, Dox, is leading allies against invasion forces from the Deadside. Josiah, as Shadowman, enters the battle. Master Dark waits for the perfect time as the sun rises to strike Josiah in hopes that the Shadowman can be killed under the light of day. Josiah likewise delivers a blow to Master Dark in hopes of killing him as well. Master Dark, requiring Shadowman to take him somewhere beyond his reach, pulls Josiah into a portal, thereby ending the invasion for now. Doc seeks out Helena, but she has fled New Orleans. When Jack is old enough, Helena gives him the amulet and disappears, leaving Jack in foster care. When Jack is fully grown, he works at odd jobs in New Orleans in search of his parents. An investigator, Dave Burke, pays Jack a visit at his latest job at the museum. Jack learns that his parents were criminals on the run. His father, Josiah, had been charged with homicide, but nothing was ever proven in court. Both of his parents are currently nowhere to be found. Elsewhere, a monster called Mr. Twist slaughters patrons at a bar. He then turns 2 police officers into monsters called Brethren. Meanwhile, Jack, distraught about his criminal parents, decides to throw his special amulet into the river. Without the amulet protecting Jack, Doc's protege, Alyssa, is able to detect him. She refers to Jack as the host. Dox realizes that if Alyssa can detect Jack, so can the Brethren. Jack is kidnapped by 2 Brethren, and after driving him to a remote location, they gun him down when he attempts to flee. He is then unexpectedly merged with a mysterious shadow entity, who heals his injuries and turns into Shadowman. Powers. Classic Valiant. As Shadowman, Jack possesses paranormal strength, endurance, agility, and reflexes, night vision, regenerative healing, gliding capabilities, depleted fear, and other voodoo powers. In other media, film. In 1999, Acclaim Entertainment was approached by rapper and actor Ice Cube about making a feature film. Acclaim declined this offer, as they were focused on the success of the video game franchise. In June 2017, Valiant Entertainment hired Reginald Hudlin to direct the film and also co-write it with Adam Simon. Video games. Acclaim Entertainment released Shadowman in November 1999 for PlayStation, Nintendo 64, Dreamcast and PC. Shadowman 2: A Second Coming, a sequel to Shadowman, was released for PlayStation 2 in 2002. Collected editions. The 1992 series was first collected in 1994 as a trade paperback, reprinting issues number 1 to 3 and 6. In 2013, Valiant Entertainment collected the early issues in a hardcover under the Valiant Masters banner. Shadowman, TPB, 1994, collects Shadowman, 1992, number 1 to 3 and 6, Valiant Masters, Shadowman Volume 1, Spirits Within, collects Shadowman, 1992, number 0 to 7. The 2012 relaunch of the series has been collected into several volumes. Shadowman Volume 1, Birthrights, collects Shadowman, 2012, number 1 to 4. Shadowman Volume 2, Dark Reckoning, collects Shadowman, 2012, number 5 to 9. Shadowman Volume 3, Deadside Blues, collects Shadowman, 2012, number 0, 10 to 12. Shadowman Volume 4, Fear, Blood and Shadows, collects Shadowman, 2012, number 13 to 16. Shadowman, End Times, collects Shadowman, End Times, 2014, number 1 to 3. World of Black Heroes, Jack Boniface, original. Biography, World of Black Heroes, reimagined Jack Boniface biography. World of Black Heroes, Mike Leroy biography. Thoughts on Shadowman by one of the writers of Volume 3, Christopher J. Priest.